So I had a pretty good game where I was playing the United States against the Dutch on Siberia, and I had a very effective counter rush game. It was really good. The guy was aging up every age before me, even though my score was a little higher than his, but I absolutely trounced this guy. He tried an early attack, and I drove him off pretty well. And in one battle I fought him as he tried to destroy an outpost. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's a little later in the game, but I'm not going to show you my economic build because I'm not actually the best economic player. I consider myself a really good micromanager of the fighting itself. And I think the United States is actually economically kind of weak because their starting cards, they don't get the 3 villagers, they get these immigrant cards, and usually you can't send it as the first card. You can't, as far as I've seen, none of the immigrant cards will send as the first card. You have to wait. Like a lot of the other civs, you can send 3 villagers as your very first card, which is extremely powerful. The United States doesn't have it. But the economic game is pretty boring. I'm not going to try to make you watch it. So I make these Tartar archers to ward off expected cavalry rushes, but skirmishers ended up coming, but it worked out in the end. I got desperate and I had to like send out some units on the fly, but I ended up fighting off his rush. So besides the Tartar horsemen, all I got is these 2 gunslingers from the saloon and my explorer.
Yes, I'll do it.
And luckily I just have to sacrifice my horsemen just to slow them down so I can get my hunters to safety. You can't just get your hunters to safety, you actually have to keep them gathering. That's kind of important to learn. You just can't run them back to your town center. You lose so much resources that way. But all I have is these 2 gunslingers, my explorer, and I just sent out some Minutemen, and it manages to drive these guys off. I think the funny thing about the gunslingers from the saloon, it doesn't really say what they specialize against. It just says they're a dangerous outlaw. That's all it says. Like some of the other stuff says it's good against heavy infantry or whatever, but it just says dangerous outlaw, which I guess it's like an all-purpose unit. It has this like gunslinger ability that is like a passive ability that like happens every now and again, where the gunslinger does a lot of damage. I think it did it in this fight. Like right there. I think it did it right there. That was the special ability of the gunslingers, maybe. Not sure. But I fought off that early attack, so that was good.
Yes. I'm ready.
Here in Age 3, I pushed on him with not enough troops. I pretty much got my butt kicked in this little fight right here. He had too much stuff. I wasn't ready really to push in on him.
I'm ready. I'll attack. Attack! What is your command? Attack!
Yes, gatherer.
Advance!
It's here that I noticed that this guy decided to make lots of culverins to try and render my gatling guns ineffective. This can be a really effective tactic. You can just outnumber me with infantry and try to keep my gatling guns out of the game, which, if I was playing against the United States, I might do that too.
Hello.
So here I send my Seminole Shark-Tooth Bowmen from my home city. These are like regular archers that can go into stealth mode. One of the things I like to do is I like to send out like a stealth force to like see what's coming. I like to have some pre-warning about what I'm going to be fighting. And he doesn't do what I expect, but this is actually good tactics even though it didn't work out this time. Have some eyes out there in front and kind of know what you're dealing with. You see something unexpected, units that you didn't think he was bringing, you get your production started for something to counter it. This helps me out a lot in games.
I'll attack. I am wounded.
And here is where I believe I win the game. Some of my poor gold miners detect him coming in against my native outpost. And I pull everything back to attack him right as he's moving in on the outpost because I know this is a good time. The cannons will be a distance from the outpost to use their range, and his infantry will walk right up to the outpost and start bashing on it. This creates like a separation. And for a short time, his culverins can't be used against my troops. You know, so I use attack move a lot, but sometimes if it looks weird, I just stop all my units, which I did right here, and I just obliterate his troops right there with my Gatling guns. And once his infantry are gone, culverins are not very effective against infantry, so I just charge his culverins, and that's like not even really a problem. I just wipe him out really good in this fight, and this gives me a huge edge. And I begin to camp out in front of his town, and I start bombing it with mortars.
Yep, boss.
At attention.
Yes, right.
Orders? Yes. What are my targets?
Bombarding with mortars is really great for the United States because they got gatling guns that you force them to run into. And also you can plant your American flag and give your units a boost. It's like a double advantage. I might make a deck based entirely on using mortars. See what I could do. There he is with those culverins again. This guy puts up such a good fight when I attack his town. It's such a stiff resistance that I suspect I may have lost this game if it hadn't been for that outpost fight early on. If I hadn't got that huge edge then, I think I would have lost this one. He's pretty... The guy's pretty tenacious. And I'm not known for making enough villagers. I'm kind of weird. I stop sometimes at like 29 villagers or 35 villagers. It's kind of weird. But I win a lot of games anyway, because the way I micromanage. But my attack force got really thinned out, and I looked like I was in trouble a little bit, but I just kept queuing units to go to his town, and I kept sending enough that he eventually resigned.